What's going on with Devin? When's the last time you spoke to him? I saw this Paro stuff.
Yesterday, maybe. Yeah. I texted him a couple of days ago about the Paro fight, and I said, look, I think there could be an opportunity to make that fight. He said, I'd be up for it if the deal was right. That was on the end, but but as always, and that's fair enough. But it's definitely a fight that I think makes sense. Devin has good profile in Australia, beat Kambosos twice over there. We want to do a big homecoming for Liam Paro, and we'd love to make Paro against Haney in December.
I think the big question with Devin is, like, how is he mentally, physically after that Ryan Garcia fight?
I think one thing about Devin, he's mentally very solid. Like, he's an intelligent kid. I think he's in control of his emotions. I think the defeat hurt him on many levels because, one, probably never thought he'd get beat. Two, I think the drug test stuff was hard for him to take, the weight stuff, like everything. And it was almost like, when Ryan tested positive, Devin sort of got the blame. It was a really weird reaction, wasn't it, on social? It was like, oh, stop being a crybaby, Devin. It's like, what? This guy's just tested positive. So I think he probably didn't take it very well. But I think at the same time, he's ready. He's in training, and I think he's looking forward and focused on his return.
Very likely then that happens. He does return December then against Paro?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we've still got a lot of negotiation to do, but we've got to do it soon if Devin's going to return. I mean, we talked about him returning on the October 12th card in Riyadh. I think it was a bit short timing for him, but, we've got a few ideas.
What's going on with this Boots and Brian Norman stuff I keep seeing everywhere?
Just frustrating, I mean, like, Brian Norman's dad comes out and gives all these interviews. The first offer that we made to Brian Norman was well north of $1 million, which, I get people on Twitter go, I bet you offered him 300 grand. It's like, no. But anyway, they come back and went, that's an insulting offer. We don't think so, but anyway. So we upped our offer by $250,000. And then they come back and said, oh, we're close. And Brian Norman's dad gives all these interviews saying, we're really close now. Like, this is, So we went back for a third time with another $250,000, which I really didn't want to do, by the way. But I was like, look, if we're close, let's just get this fight done. Yeah. If he really wants it, let's find out. Fired it in, and they come back and said, oh, we're miles off. I said, what do you mean miles off? We were just close, and we've gone up, not down. No, and it's bullshit, It's like, you talk about you want to create a legacy. You talk about you're the best in the world. You talk about Boots is a bogeyman in the division. But where are you going to see that kind of money? Like, with all due respect to Brian Norman, I think he's a good fighter. Who is Brian Norman? No one's ever heard of him. It's like Stanionis. Stanionis comes out on Twitter. Oh, Eddie Hearn, stop saying you've made me an offer. You haven't. I said, have you spoke to your advisor? Because I've made an offer. Oh, comes back 10 minutes later. Oh, yeah, you did, but it was a joke. It's like, how's that a joke? That's well north of $1 million as well. For you, Stanionis. Like, this is where boxing is in a bad place. Because too many fighters that don't have a profile getting overpaid, thinking they should be making X million dollars for a fight. Go out and show how great you are, Brian Norman and your dad. If you think Boots is all hype, go and fight him. You made a bucket load of money on the way, and if you beat him, you become a massive overnight sensation. But you don't really believe you can beat him, do you? Because if you did, you'd take the fight.
Is that dead then?
I think so, yeah. I mean, look, the IBF have called the purse bids for Chudazian, which is frustrating because we've already beat him. And I think the IBF, it's a shocking decision, really, but it is what it is. It's just boxing. And we've got to make a decision now whether we fight him or we move up or we vacate because we want to be in good fights. And listen, Chudazian's a good fighter, but he's already beaten him. Do you know what I mean? 120, 108. So, very disappointed in Brian Norman and his team, but it's up to them. There's nothing we can do about it.
Jaron ties into Terence and Madrimov. It's kind of like they all tie in with each other. First with Madrimov, when is he going to return? I saw an email sent to me that he's targeting a world title and then a rematch. Can you make that happen?
We won't get the rematch. I don't think Terence Crawford will ever fight again. Yeah. I think unless he gets Canelo, I don't think Crawford will fight again. He definitely won't fight Virgil Ortiz. Won't rematch Madrimov. He's made a lot of money, and I think he's just, he's comfortable, isn't he? Hopefully Madrimov will His Excellency's reached out to us and Madrimov and said, I'd like you on the December 21st card. So hopefully that can happen. And chasing the big fights at 154, and we'll see what happens with Terence.
So the Boots Ennis fight for Crawford won't get him up for that?
No. Because
he's told you guys it's only Canelo, that's it.
He knows how dangerous that fight is. And No, Crawford. Yeah. Crawford knows how dangerous the boots are. And he knows it won't pay the money that the risk warrants just yet. But maybe in 6 to 12 months, maybe that's the mega fight that he needs.
That's a riskier fight, in your opinion, than Canelo?
No, but if you lose to Canelo, you're losing to 168 all-time great. You lose to Boots Ennis. Sometimes these fighters feel like you're giving them the opportunity. Because if when Boots beats Crawford, he breaks for 100%.
Wow.
100%.
How so?
Too good, mate. Too good,
Really?
too young, too fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you
But
see
on the flip, they'd say like he's too inexperienced. He's never faced someone like him. Who has he faced?
But look at Madrimov.
Yeah.
He had 9 fights.
Yeah.
I say inexperienced. He had 9
That's
fights.
300 amateur fights.
Doesn't matter. Boots had whatever. I'm sure he had over 100 amateur fights as well, and he's had 34 fights as a pro. No, he's ready. But Crawford wouldn't fight him. I don't blame him.
So the Canelo Crawford one. This is the last one because I know you want to get out of here. If you were to gauge like how likely it happens, given the rhetoric between Canelo and Turkey, which is a whole different other thing that worries me.
That can change. Let's see what happens against Edgar Berlanga. We're hoping we can upset the apple cart. But anything could happen in boxing. And I'm sure in Turkey's mind, maybe that fight's not dead yet. And I'm sure in Canelo his mind, that fight's not dead yet. But let's see what happens.
My last one for you so you can get out of here. The rhetoric between Canelo and Turkey, just as an observer looking from the outside, it worries me a little bit that we might be heading into kind of a situation that we saw ourselves in with Top Rank and Golden Boy a few years back, where like we couldn't see the fights because it was one entity with a bunch of fighters and another entity not wanting to do fights with other fighters because of the rhetoric.
But that's a ridiculous thing to say, because you're just talking about one person, Canelo Alvarez. So His Excellency is making fights with everybody. And he's actually bridging the gap. He's breaking the political boundaries of boxing to make fights between everyone. It's only one person don't want to come out to play yet.
One of the most important persons in the sport, though.
But what are you going to do? If you're Canelo, who else are you going to fight? You know, the big money for Canelo is to make a Riyadh season event. But like anything, Canelo's also a big boss. Got 2 big bosses. And sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit of time. And I'm sure one day everything will be fine.
I don't know, random. I'm just going to say it feels like it's a dick slinging contest.
Really? You just got two powerful people that are used to getting what they want.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, man, you know.
That's okay. But that's okay. I'm sure, you know, when the business makes sense, everything will happen accordingly.
All right. Eddie, I don't want us to fry up anymore. Thank you. Appreciate it. Eddie Hearn, Marcos Villegas, here in Carson, California for Fight Up TV. Thank you for watching.